Hey, stepmamas, welcome to the Stepmom Unfiltered podcast. This is your go to space for unapologetic, unfiltered conversations about the roller coaster ride of stepmotherhood. We're your hosts. I'm Adrienne.
And I'm Amelia. We understand that being a stepmom is like walking a tightrope in stilettos. So we're here to help you embrace the messiness, laugh through the craziness, and find strength in our shared experiences.
This podcast is more than just a series of episodes, it's a community for stepmoms to be real, raw, and unfiltered. Buckle up because we're about to embark on a journey of candid conversations, taboo topics, and expert insights.
This is the Stepmom Unfiltered podcast, your sanctuary for real talk and real solutions.
Hey, Amelia.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. We're finally doing the thing we've been talking about doing.
I know it's only taken us, probably going on 4 years now.
Yeah, close to here. So I'm excited that we're finally doing it. There's been lots of planning. So
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So with that, welcome to our very first episode of the Stepmom Unfiltered podcast. We are so excited to be here with you.
Yeah, so I guess before we dive into all the things, we just kind of want to introduce ourselves to everybody, right? Because I'm sure there's a few people that don't know who we are. So why don't you go first?
Yeah, that sounds great. So Adrienne here. I became a stepmom, over 11 years ago now. And at the start of all that, I quickly realized just all the challenges that this role comes with, its own unique sets of joys and challenges, to be honest. It's been a roller coaster ride of highs and lows. So mom of two, stepmom of two, all girls. Probably don't need to say more on
Lucky
that.
you.
Yes, whole lot of hormone in our house. But the truth is that being a blended family with his and hers, both my husband and I have had to learn how to navigate co-parenting with each other, blending parenting styles, and figuring out how to co-parent with both of our exes, both of their new spouses. So it's like one big blended family.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
A lot of my stepmom struggles personally have been learning how to connect with my stepchildren, the bio mom stepmom relationship, and accepting that we didn't have the option to have an ours baby. So here I finally found the love of my life, and I didn't get to have that experience with him. But through it all, I think I've discovered that there's a lot of strength and resilience in being a stepmom. And I'm excited to be here to share these stories with other stepmoms to help them navigate the similar challenges. Each of us have our unique challenges and our unique situations, but I want to do what I can to give back and help others.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. So tell us about you.
Yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Amelia. I became a stepmom just over 13 years ago. Both my husband and I each brought a daughter into the relationship, and they're 4 months apart. So it's kind of like having twins, but not. And then a few years into our relationship, we welcomed our ours baby. So that was definitely a learning curve for many reasons that I'm sure we'll get into in later episodes. Yeah, and for me, my biggest struggles, I would say, were jealousy, insecurity, because for those that don't know, I moved into the home that my husband bought with his ex-wife, so that triggered a lot of unexpected emotions. And another big one for me was communication barrier with my husband. Just everything turned into an argument. It seemed like no matter what challenge we were facing, we were just constantly at odds. And that was huge for us for many years, which got to a point where I wasn't sure that we were even going to survive, our marriage. And I felt like our family was crumbling right before my eyes. So that's when things took a turn and I started learning new ways to cope and new strategies to try. And yeah, just with the support of a community, I was able to turn things around and and become happier and more at peace and more confident. Yeah, and now being a certified coach, I'm happy to be able to help other stepmoms. And obviously now through this podcast, we're going to have an even bigger voice. So I'm excited for us to be able to do that for all the stepmamas out there that are struggling.
I love that. You know what I love the most is that when you were talking about the struggles you've been through, you said the struggles are, and then corrected yourself and said were. I think the reality is it's both. It's are and were, because we've been through them, we've come to the other side, and we're human beings. And these challenges do come up from time to time. And we have to remind ourselves to get back to that self-care or whatever the tool was that helped us get through that particular challenge. So right in line with our podcast, keeping it real, raw, unfiltered.
No, you're right. I won't lie. Like we're constantly facing challenges as step parents. They're just different challenges as the kids have gotten older, as my stepdaughter's gotten older. It's just different challenges, different things that we're navigating. So the problems don't go away, but it's the putting the practices in place that I've learned and using those tools to navigate all the new situations. So yeah, you're right.
Love that. Hey, why don't we tell everyone how we met? We are on opposite sides of two different countries, actually. So it's fascinating that we would come together.
Yeah, it really was. It was obviously very unexpected, because obviously I had never met you. I live in Ontario, Canada, in a very small town with one stoplight. And Adrienne, you live in California in a big city. So our meeting was very unlikely, but back in 2020, it was, the way people met was online. So that's kind of, well, that is how we met.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
It was really neat. We actually were part of a certified stepmom coaches group, and that's where we first connected, and we reached out to each other after an initial call and said, hey, let's talk. So it was really fun to get to know each other. And then really we've come together and become friends and fellow stepmoms who support one another, and have navigated multiple years now of our own personal challenges through life, step parenting and otherwise. So yeah, let's share why we're here and why we decided to finally jump in 4 years later and do the dang thing and start this podcast. I know we wanted to create a community and bring other stepmoms together. We know that the number of stepmoms in the world is growing every day. It's actually a ginormous number when you think about 50% divorce rate and all the new marriages, second marriages, third marriages, all the number. I think there's like 17 million step kids just in the United States and growing daily. So so there's millions. And so we wanted to start to bring people together and have the real conversations, not the filtered and let's pretend we have it all together and not talk about the challenges.
I think that's just it. Like I remember, rewind probably 7, 8 years ago. Like I felt totally like I was on an island alone, facing these challenges literally by myself because I didn't have any stepmom friends. And, I'm a child of divorce, but even that, like I didn't have anyone to really relate to, because my parents' divorce and the relationships between like my stepdad and my dad was very different than anything I was facing. So to turn to even my parents for advice, I just couldn't, because it's not the same situation. So while they sometimes understood some of the, emotions I was facing, they couldn't really relate to the things I was facing. So yeah, I felt really alone. Like I literally felt just isolated. And I will never forget the day that I found an online community of stepmoms. And it was like this weight was lifted off my shoulders because I finally was like, it's not me. Like I'm not necessarily always the problem. Like, there's other people out there going through these things. And I think so for so many years now, you and I have talked about being that for other stepmoms, right? So that's, our goal here is to just ensure that stepmoms know that they're not alone. Like the challenges they face are normal. It's not to be ashamed about or not to feel guilty for those feelings. Really want to validate stepmoms.
Yeah, and normalize it, right? Normalize that it's okay to feel jealous. It's okay to be upset that you weren't the first wife, or that you have to raise children, between two homes, and that you're, like you said, you're not alone in that. You're not the only stepmom in the world feeling that way. And to hear, I mean, everybody's situation is so unique and so different and has different dynamics and challenges and elements to it. So it's like, we could take any topic, the bio mom stepmom relationship, how to navigate an R's child, the different parenting styles. I mean, like, you could name anything. And honestly, there would be 20 different potential solutions, and
Absolutely.
and what fits you could be pieces of each of those. And I think that's the real fun behind all of this, is exploring how others, I mean, we're two voices in all of it, right? But how many other voices are out there? How many other
So
stepmoms
many.
do we talk to? And we still continue to learn from others as well. So I'm really excited. I know we have a lot of different topics we'll cover, and I know we want to hear from our audience and the other stepmoms out there to bring in and answer questions that they have.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too. To get some stepmoms on here, and yeah, let's start some real and raw conversations, because I think that's where we find strength, and I think it's where we find peace, is being able to share our stories. And yeah, so I hope that we can help to be that voice for stepmoms. Yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, that's a little bit about Amelia and me and how we met and why we're here. And next week we'll be jumping in to some of our first conversations. So until then, we hope you stay well, and we'll catch you back here next week.
Yeah.
A quick disclaimer to cover our asses. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed on today's episode are the speaker's own. So if you didn't like them, why didn't you turn this off sooner?
The material and information presented here is for general information purposes only. If you need support with a specific topic, you can do so by booking a one-on-one coaching call through our website, theartofblendedks.com. This podcast is not intended to replace professional, legal, or medical advice. You seriously didn't think we were lawyers or doctors, did you?